I want to bring up, we're actually here celebrating, right? Kicking off the launch of this 8-week book tour of the brand new book that is coming out. That was kind of the impetus to all of this. 262 entrepreneurs, ultrapreneurs, creatives and media, all women in this space. And who are you going to get to write the foreword in such an impactful book that is going to create this global movement that has already reached thousands of women across 6 different countries? And that would be Kathy Holt. Kathy Holt, sorry. Kathy is a change maker for sure. She's an absolutely entrepreneur, change maker advocate, leadership coach. She's consulted to women in the United Nations and other non-government organizations. She's done grassroots efforts all around the world. And she says that women have the ability to become leaders, all women. And I don't always think that we believe that we are leaders. I think sometimes we think we were, we're just here being pushed to the back seat, or maybe even by design pulled to the back seat. But she says all women have the ability to become leaders. And she is the woman who wrote the foreword to the upcoming book. So it is my honor and privilege to be able to bring to the stage today, Katherine Holt. Hello, Katherine. Let's give her some love.
Hello. Thank you so much. This has been an incredible day, and I hope everybody who is on the Zoom is gathering those nuggets from everybody who speaks, because I surely have. Today, since I do a lot of work internationally, and you probably heard me if you were there early in the morning, that it is a celebration of International Women's Day. And for me, working around the world and seeing what some women have to deal with in their everyday life, and just you heard Jane this morning about some of the things that she had to overcome and live through to become the person she was. But International Women's Day actually was declared by the UN in 1975, and it was the intersection of labor and women's rights movements. So we're supposed, like we are doing today, we're honoring the achievements and contributions of women who created the paths to help us get where we are now, and also to reflect on different challenges and struggles that we still have to deal with as women. And some of you have already been discussing some of those things. And in the world, women are not treated equal anywhere in the world. Doesn't matter. Here in the US, it's based on the rate of change that we're experiencing, we probably will not gain pay equity until 2056. And heard earlier say that it'll take 140 years at this current rate to get equal representation in leadership in the workplace. There's women around the world who are still persecuted as witches. There are child marriages that women have to deal with. And that's true here in the United States also. 39 states still make it legal to get married to children. Mm. We fear violence because of social norms. So I think why I get so excited about International Women's Day is because it's women collaborating and creating synergy for change, for equal rights. We are acting in solidarity to make this world, to be partners in creating and managing and caring for this world that we live in. And somebody earlier had talked about your intentions and how your intentions, changing your perspectives and your intentions is the first step to changing the world. And I think that's what we celebrate today. So I'm been working at this for about 35 years. And I've worked both locally, nationally, and internationally, as you've heard. And it's all about center staging women in leadership and in decision-making spaces. That's my passion. I'm the joyful mother of a daughter who had a stroke when she was 18 and has some subsequent limitations. So I not only see her as in her womanhood, but also in her challenges of having limitations in life. And so that's kind of the intersection of what women experience. But I've also had the opportunity to work with women who have had other challenges like Jane. There was one woman, and they never woke up one day and said, oh, I'm going to be a leader. That's, I'm going to do this incredible thing because that's just what I want to do. But sometimes it's the circumstances or the survival for some women that they have to be creatives and become leaders and change agents. One woman that is quite infamous in the Philippines, I would say famous, but other voices might say infamous, got a group together because they were experiencing a lot of domestic violence in their community. And the authorities weren't really doing anything about it. It was very patriarchal, and they just, oh, what happens behind closed doors happens behind closed doors. So she gathered women together and decided that they needed to do something about this. And the women didn't feel like they had a lot of power, but they got creative. And what they started to do, because this woman got them together and got them energized and got them to coalesce around a common goal, is they decided that they would take their pots and pans, and any household where there was evidence of violence, or if a woman came to this group and showed that she was being assaulted, they would stand for hours around this house and bang their pots and pans and just shame the abuser. And it did make some change. And it also got the attention of the authorities because, it was quite a disruption to daily life. So it's women like that I don't think leaders are born. I think that anybody has what it takes to be a leader, and especially women. So my journey started really, I guess, in college high school and college in the 70s when, I was told, oh, you can be a teacher, or you can be a nurse, or you can be a secretary, or those were kind of the choices I was given. It was never, you could be a doctor, you could be a lawyer, or you could be a college professor. And I was very frustrated by that. And I was so fortunate that I had so many women that were mentors. Many of us have talked about mentors today, and that were willing to share with me kind of their secrets of how to raise their voices, but also be effective despite the social constraints that they faced. Working in politics later in my life, I actually had a communications consultant talk to me because I was doing some lobbying and working on advocating for women's issues. And she said, Kathy, back then I was considered tall. Now I'm not so tall. My daughter's much taller than I am, but back then I was considered tall. And she said, you can be intimidating because you could express your opinions and, you're not afraid to express them. And I said, okay, well, and she says, well, if you really want to communicate and get your message across, then you need to learn how to strategically communicate, how to message. And one of the big things was, she said to me, there are times you will want to stand up to talk to a man. That's that intimidation factor that I wanted to get my point across. And there are going to be times where you're just going to sit down and have a dialogue. So use that, but know how to use that. So part of what I do is also the strategies of communications, because some of the women I work with in Africa, they have to talk to tribal leaders and try to get their point across with, say, tribal leaders. And part of that strategic messaging is figuring out what you're asking for will benefit who you're talking to. We all have a little bit of that "what about me" in it. So so that's part of the strategies that I teach. I've shared my experiences in the university classrooms. I've shared them in the political arena and also on the global stage. And the message is always, I think all women have what it takes to be change agents. So my passion is helping them discover what are their leadership superpowers. So why do women make great leaders? The new paradigm for leadership is not an old curmudgeon sitting in his office, yelling at people and giving orders and everybody falling into place. That's not what leaders are, or good leaders are considered anymore. A good leader, the traits that they look for, it's called servant leadership, is like empathy, good communication skills, collaboration, problem solving, empowering others, and having humility, and also being adaptable. Well, I feel like women do that all the time. Whether it's nurture or nature, that's what we do. We build teams. We are more often than not, whether it's as a sister, a mother, a daughter, a wife, or a partner, or taking and loving your furry friends. You are always adapting. Well, I'm always adapting. I was so adaptable at one point. I used to joke, I'm so flexible and adaptable, I feel like a pretzel, because I was always turning myself inside out to adapt to all the different challenges that were presented to me. We also empower others. We learn how to compliment, how to give energy to, whether it's our kids or coworkers. We just tend to do that. So we have these leadership skills that are so important to life and our communities, our work places, just any place we show up. So I think it's important that to remember some things, because I don't always remember them, and I myself a bit sometimes, that we are all unique. We are the experts of our own lives. We know our values. You have lived what you have lived and had the experiences you have had. Nobody else has had those. So your perspective is important. You bring a different perspective. So trust in that. Leadership isn't about titles or positions anymore. It's really about inspiring others towards a common goal. It's motivating people to achieve something new or something better, something different. And I always remember the story of Shannon Watts. I'm a fan of hers. She started Moms Demand Action. Now she was a stay-at-home mother of 5 after she had been in a career of communications. And after Sandy Hook, she just became petrified that her children could have that kind of experience or be threatened, or it was a monumental fear for her. So she started a Facebook group, and just asked her women friends, what can we do to reduce gun violence? And all of a sudden, so many women started joining this Facebook group that they decided they needed to start meeting in person. Of course, before COVID, matter of fact, it was quite a few years ago, but meeting in person and getting together and talking and trying to figure out, be creative about problem solving. And it became a grassroots movement. And today it has chapters in every single state in the United States and has 10 million supporters. She didn't wake up that morning and say, after Sandy Hook, and say, I'm going to start a movement and I'm going to fix this problem and I'm going to start affecting legislation. She was just fearful for her children and decided she had to do something about it. So where do you start your leadership journey? For me, and what I coach my clients through is, what's your passion? What do you see that you want to change, that you're not satisfied with? Are you tired of feeling semi-invisible or not heard? You know you have ideas, but nobody's listening. Are you ready to dig deep and really look into yourself and relish and congratulate yourself for the skills that you do have? Because we all have skills. Like I said, empathy, communications. Everyone knows the statistics show that women say way more words than men in an average day. So we communicate. And are you ready to stand up and speak up and become a change maker and get over that fear? And often it is just, you know, the first time I spoke up, probably in college, about something that I was really uncomfortable with, I was petrified. But it was amazing that, yeah, I had some naysayers, but I also had so many people that said, thank you, Kathy. Thank you for saying something. I was going to, but you know, it's uncomfortable. And I was like, yeah, it is uncomfortable, but I just couldn't take it anymore. So I think that that's, you know, part of the leadership path. But so my mission is to help all women find their leadership superpowers, to embrace and nurture their abilities and their passions and their skills and their capabilities, and then to also identify some of the strategies that will impact how you communicate or how you present as a leader, because different circumstances definitely require different ways of showing up and presenting. And I love guiding and accompanying women on their journey to become change makers. I've done it for, like I said, over 30 years now. And I embrace it. It's my passion. It's my mission. So that's why I follow it. And that's why I love what I do. I feel very fortunate to be doing what I do. Mm-hmm. So thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. And I hope there were some nuggets in there for you.
Oh my gosh, yes, there were some nuggets. I hope there were some nuggets, right? Oh my, yes, let's give her some Zoom love, right? And even some takeaways in the chat if she resonated with you, or there were a couple mic drops. Love to hear even more. And just giving her support, right? It's us, all of us women rallying together. And how many of you, when she said, you're like, I know my stand, I know my platform, I know the thing that bugs me, and I'm ready to speak up on it. In fact, I think in the movie, right, Seeing All Red, right, she didn't start out to be this advocate for women, you know, but she spoke up for somebody who just needed a voice and needed somebody to believe them and listen to them, and look at what it turned into.